What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All the Mods Expert Mode. Oh yeah, guys, so we are here in our little makeshift power room. Yeah, I was just kind of looking at the amount of power usage that we are using right now, and it is decent. We are still making enough power where we can fill up our battery, so that's not a big deal, but I just got done hooking up our main power supply into our EU generation. Yeah, we did that before, and it was like drawing all of our power, and our generator's running all the time. But with our ethylene setup here, it can fill the battery and then run off the battery for a little while. But yeah, we are still using like 4.4 thousand RF per tick, which is a lot. It is a lot. But yeah, like I said, I hooked up our main power over into this thing. I had to add in a few more overclockers into our recycler to keep up with the additional power, but we are definitely making the UU matter a lot faster. We are currently at 10.2 buckets. Well, 10.194 buckets. Anyway, so this has been running for a very, very long time in this series, and we haven't produced a whole lot. I figured it was time to start kicking it up a notch, especially since we have a lot more power on tap now to convert RF into the EU to do that. We are still using our reactor over here. It's still doing its thing. We could make more reactors, but that's just a lot of crafting, a lot of material to do all that. So I figured since we already have our EU set up, ready to go, we might as well just start tapping into that and pumping more power in. Now we could also add another EU, or I guess RF to EU converter over here. That's how we're currently converting our power, is using this high energy 512 EU a tick RF converter. It's converting RF to 512, and we're putting it through this P2P tunnel EU and sending it over there. So we could add in another one of these to convert more power. I'm not sure if I'm ready to step up to that kind of gains just yet, but yeah, we are definitely making more. So as I added in more overclockers over here, I sourced them from these other machines, and I was like, oh, well, that's going to slow everything down. So yeah, I took a few hours here, and I've been increasing our overclockers and all these machines and just kind of like looking at our different setups over here and making sure everything is working correctly. But yeah, I think we should be ready to go. So I got overclockers in our compressor here and all these kinds of things. Now that's got me to the point now where I don't want to make any more electronic circuits. We are making electronic circuits through the thermionic fabricator with this recipe, and that's fine, but it's annoying. Like, the microchips take paper and the nichrome ingots and electron ingots and all of the different resources we're spending on here. Yeah, we could start using our UU matter to make these things, and that's kind of where I want to go in the future. So we're preparing for that by making some more UU matter right now. So anyway, what I want to work on today, last episode we hooked up our blood magic blood altar to a tier 5, which is really cool. We can upgrade it further to a tier 6. That's not really needed at the moment, but yeah, getting it all the way to the beacons, that's the tier 5, and we are now able to convert draconium dust into draconium ingots at a high cost though. So draconium, the uses of this, if we look here in the blood altar, it requires 80 buckets of life essence in order to convert it, right? Well, we can make that, but it takes a while. So I want to set this thing up to start collecting life essence automatically, and then we'll work on how to store that. Right now these buckets hold, or I guess this drum holds 4,096, which is quite a lot, but I do want to make sure that we can store a ridiculous amount, so when we need to convert the dust into ingots, we'll always be able to do that. It doesn't matter how many of those that we're going to need to convert, we'll have all the life essence on tap, is essentially where I want to go. So what we want to do, we want to sacrifice something to the altar, and that will convert it into life essence, right? So what you can do for that is get yourself a dagger of sacrifice. So the dagger of sacrifice is made just by putting an iron sword into a tier 2 blood altar, right? So I went ahead and I just did that off camera. That's kind of like an earlier game thing. So I did that. So when you have a monster nearby the altar, I think it's within like 3 or 5 blocks. I'm not exactly sure what the thing is. and you poke it with a dagger sacrifice. I believe this kills it one shot and converts it into life essence, and that goes into the altar. So we want to automate that process. There's a few ways we can do it. People are saying in the comments that you can use like zombies or something on graveyard soil and all these kinds of things. And I think you'd have to do a ritual, the ritual of suffering. And you'd always have to have those entities like hanging out. That's one way to do it. I'm not sure if that's the way I want to do it. We already have a villager spawner, and we have the ability to make that into a resturb spawner and start using our grid power, which for some reason says we have nearly 600,000. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, I don't know why. That's messed up on single player worlds for me in the past. Like on a multiplayer world, it's always seemed fine, but on single player worlds, either like it says we're using way more grid power than what we have, or in this case now it's saying we have way more grid power than what we actually do. There's like a file you can reset to. Anyway, it's not a big deal. So what I want to do is start using our villager spawner. I'd like to resturb it and use those villagers to sacrifice to the altar. Now I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think villagers are like the highest amount of life essence per entity when you're using the dagger sacrifice. Could be wrong, but I think it is. We need a drop of evil. And then we need our villager spawner, which I think I still have in this wand. Yeah, I keep putting in the wand. Like I said before, we had it over at the end of this tunnel right there, and that was just too close. When I was over here, it would spawn them in, they'd walk around, make noise, so I just picked it up and put it into the wand. If we resturb the spawner though, we can turn it on and off with redstone, which would be much better. So anyway, there's our villager spawner. It's now a resturb spawner. If we put it down, it is of type villager, so we can put in speed upgrades, which use 20 more, what is this stuff called? Grid power GP, which is going to be just fine. Okay, so we can spawn in villagers. That's not a big deal. We need to spawn them in and then move them to a certain location so we can start killing them, right? So the next thing is we're going to start looking into a little bit of draconic evolution. We're going to look at the dislocator. I think we can make these now. Let's take a look. So the dislocator requires these draconic cores, which does require draconium ingots. Yeah, we're going to need 16 draconium ingots, which is kind of a pain to make, but we are able to make those using this recipe here. So we'll probably end up doing that. We're going to need some vibrant crystals, which is vibrant alloys around emeralds. We have plenty of both of those, I do believe. Actually, let's go back real quick. So that does require nether star per. I'm not sure if we have the nether stars, but we do have a way to kill the wither boss. We have 3 stars, so we need to kill one more wither boss, not a big deal. And then we are also going to need this touchstone of Midas, which is different types of gold: green, rose, white, and enriched gold. This is from Calculator. And then 4 more blocks of gold, and then a molten core. All of that is easy for us to do at this point. And then finally, we need 4 teleportation cores, which requires atomic alloys, which we can make, unstable ender pearls, wither dust plus ender pearl, easy, more rose gold, and then some mana pearls. Just drop ender pearls into our mana pool upstairs and we can get that. So that's not that big of a deal anymore for us to make. Previously, this was like, whoa, that's way too much. We're also going to need the dislocator receptacle, which requires another draconic core. So I guess we need to make 20 draconium ingots, and then we're going to need 2 more nether stars. And then draconium infused obsidian. All of that's pretty easy. So I got a little bit of stuff to do here, guys. I'm going to be working off camera, trying to get the rest of that material done. I want to try and get this thing set up today. Hopefully we'll get it done here very soon. Well, let me get to it and we'll be right back, guys. Oh yeah, I'll just go ahead and do that off camera. No big deal, guys. I completely forgot making the draconium requires that mixed metal ingot stuff, this stuff. In order to get that, we need to do this recipe, which doesn't look that bad, but this one right here, we've seen this before when we made our original draconium a long time ago. This guy right here is a real big pain to get. So In order to get that guy, we need to get silicate mineral, right? So silicate mineral goes through our mineral analyzer with both the sulfuric, the hydrofluoric, and the hydrochloric acid, all of this stuff. And then you get a chance at getting this, which when you process that gives you a 6% for that particular mineral. Yeah, so we've got all of these other things, and then we get some of these every now and then. So we have 7 of those. We can run that through our chemical extractor. We're looking for this guy right here, and you can see that goes up 6% every single time one of those little guys goes through there. Now, in order to get the silicate mineral, we have to put that through our mineral sizer, the uninspected mineral, and you can see how slow that's going, and you get a chance of silicate. So I have upgraded our setup over here, and I've added a bunch more of our mineral sizers. Yeah, so previously we had 1, now we have 5. So I've been taking, when we get stacks of these other ones I don't really care about, I've been taking those over to our ME system and just kind of storing those there. But yeah, we're getting these different materials at like a pretty decent rate. And then down here is where our silicate is. You can see I kind of like separated those a little bit so we know what we're doing. When we get some stacks of that stuff, I put it over here, and then this goes at the speed that it goes, which is kind of slow. And now we have 1 additional one. Oh, now we get 4 more that we can process through. Anyway, so then when we get those things, we have to put it into our metal alloyer and do this recipe here. We need just 1 more of those things, and we get 1 now. We put that through here, and that'll give us 9 of this misc metal ingot thing. Yeah, anyway, the recipe to make a draconium ingot is 1 of those misc metal things. We get 9 of these that we have to crush. We get 9 ingots for every one of those 1 extremely rare things, whatever this, how you pronounce it, I don't know. Anyway, so we get 9 of those, so we can go back to here. 9 draconium ingots. So anyway, it's like a huge pain to get to that point. I just got enough of that here just a little bit ago. We have half a stack here, so we should be able to make our draconium ingot recipe. And I really do hope this will be the very last time we have to do it this way. So we have a stack of draconium, half a stack of side gem, half a stack of this misc metal, half a stack corrupted. I still need to make some more night slime. And then we have half a stack of blaze. So we can put all of these guys in here like so, and that will get us 1 draconium ingot per craft. I'm going to go start working on the night slime stuff. We're now done with this portion of it. And oh my goodness, has that taken a minute to do. So let me continue on with this process, and we'll be back, guys. Okay guys, so I went ahead and I killed the wither boss a few times. I guess 4 times, since we got 4 of these epic shader grab bags. Got a little bit of solidified experience off it as well. And I made some draconic cores. So we have enough to make a dislocator. So that's pretty awesome. So we're going to use this to set the portal for the dislocator receptacle to warp our villagers up into where we're going to put them. So I had to make some more white gold and rose gold and all sorts of things like that. So now we need the draconium infused obsidian, this stuff. So that requires a draconium dust plus some blaze powder per each block. Blaze powder, we should have enough for a few of these. Yeah, how much obsidian do we have? We have plenty. And then we're also collecting more obsidian from our quarry. I did have to go over and give it more ethylene. Yeah, we ran out of fuel. I was noticing that none of our things were going up. Like they reached a certain point and it stopped, and I looked in the chest and nothing else is coming in. Yeah, our quarry ran out of fuel. So I just got done bringing another ultimate gas can or whatever these things, ultimate gas tank over there. I have the old one here refilling. Yeah, so we are collecting more ethylene from our pressurized reaction chamber. Anyway, this is pretty loud. Let's get out of here. So the next step is we're going to remove what we have down below. The thing we've been looking at, that whole incense altar thing. Yeah, that has served its purpose. Actually, we can just warp down there. This has served its purpose for doing what we wanted to do. Turn off the glider. We aren't going to be sacrificing our own life anymore to this thing to make blood. What we're going to do is set this thing up to be completely automatic. And down here is where we're going to be spawning in the villagers, and then they're going to be warped up above the altar, and then we're going to start taking care of them. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of this stuff. This is kind of cool checking this out since I've never really seen the incense altar before. Yeah, and we were able to get a decent amount of life essence from using that. But yeah, like I said, this has served its purpose. We're going to go ahead and disassemble this, and then we're going to replace with something that's going to be fully automatic. All right, guys, so a large part of the work has been done to get this going, at least for spawning in of the villagers. So we can go down here and we have a 9x9 room. It's centered on our altar up there, right? We have our restored mob spawner that's set to redstone signal on, and I put in 20 upgrade speeds. There is redstone conduit that goes through this thing. If I can grab this guy. Yeah, so we got redstone conduit going through conduit facades. We have those facades there to make it absolutely impossible for villagers to spawn on top of this. We want them to spawn everywhere else and then fall down, right? So we got the conduit coming up here, and we have it going right to that dislocation block. Now, if we go upstairs, there is a lever here, so I can flip that on. I bet we got villagers already. No villagers? Okay, that's fine. Anyway, that does turn that on for sure. So we can turn the spawner on and off from upstairs. Cool. So now that we got that done, the very bottom layer of this spawning room is the Draconian infused obsidian. It did take exactly 35. I didn't fill in the corners. So we got 9, 9, 9, and then 8. So it's exactly 35 without the corners, and I think that still works. And then right in the center here, we have our dislocator receptacle. And that's where we put in our dislocator once we bind it. Once we know exactly where we want our villagers to spawn. This thing's expensive. I don't want to do it incorrectly, so we're holding off for just the moment. All right, so now on top of the spawner here, we're going to set up a spot for our villagers to be warped up into. So the idea is we want them warped right here, right? And yeah, so we got enough space for them to warp here. We need to surround this with blocks so they can't go anywhere. Like so, that should be fine. And like so, right? All right, so they will be inside this little 2x1 area. That's going to be the general idea. We can get rid of all of these extra blocks that we don't need now. So inside that area, I need to do the shift right click thing with the dislocator to make, or to set it. I'll do that here in just a second. Okay, I think that should be about fine. So yeah, they can warp up in here, and then we are going to use a mechanical user from extra utilities to attack them. So we'll place this right like this. That should be fine. We can set the settings on the mechanical user. So let's set it to use, no, not on entity. We want it to use whatever item it has on entities. We want it to left click, and then we're going to set it to the upper left-hand slot only, and we're going to use a dagger sacrifice. That's going to be what we want. Now, I do see that there are speed upgrades, and I don't know what the speed upgrades for the mechanical user does. Does that just make it so it uses the items faster? Maybe. We might want to do that. I don't know. But before we do anything else, let's go ahead and test to make sure that this is going to work first of all. So we should have a villager here. I think that's one that's okay to get rid of, is it? It's one of our B villagers. We already have one over here. And then we can always go and get more, make a new spawner or whatever we want. The disturbed monsters that we're getting from this thing, I don't think are going to work too well to try and make a new spawner out of, or at least to make villagers that stay around, because they despawn after a certain amount of time. So first of all, let's turn this thing off. Always on, redstone on. Okay, so we don't get the choice here. So redstone on, we'll set this to an entity, left click, upper slot only. Let's put our test villager right here. Okay, so another thing we need to do is turn this thing off so we can make sure that we get stuff in our altar. Okay, so now that we have that done, we have our test villager here. We should be able to smack it. Looks like it's gonna take a few hits. I thought it was only gonna take one hit. Okay, I might need to do something else here before we continue on. There might be Yeah, isn't there something else you have to do to get like a mechanical user to work that? I'm not sure. Let me go figure that out real quick and we'll be right back. Alright guys, so I couldn't get that to work. It seemed like things were not working correctly. I went into a test world to check it out, and sure enough, the mechanical user does not work with the Dagger of Sacrifice. I could have sworn we had something like that set up to be automatic previously, like when I was playing Sky Factory 3 or something. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, so that's not going to work. So it's going to be a manual system. We're still going to use everything that we just used, but I'm just going to have to sit here and click the villagers as they spawn up here. So yeah, down below, everything is now set up exactly the same, except we have the redstone conduit coming out the back up, and then over to a lever up there so I can turn that on and off when I'm standing there. But yeah, I think we should be pretty much set. So I got our dislocator bound to where we need to be, and if I just right click it in there, we get warped up here immediately. Yep. We can go down there and kind of take a look. If I go through this block right here, you can see the teleporter, or I guess the portal has already been formed, and anything that goes in there just kind of gets warped upstairs like it should be, which is great. Perfect. Okay, so now that we got that taken care of, the only thing we need to do is turn this on. We'll get villagers warped up here, and then I should just be able to click these guys and fill up our blood altar. Let's turn this off. So we also need to set this thing up so it is extracting the fluid out of here. There we go. So that's now draining. I do want that to drain a little bit faster, but for right now, this is going to work just fine for our purpose. I don't have to sit there and constantly eat food to fill up our blood altar. Yeah, and this is draining the fluid quite quickly, almost a bucket at a time. Looks like about 0.8 of a bucket out of there. So yeah, that doesn't cost me anything to do this, just a little bit of time, and this is a lot faster than the way we were doing it before, so this is going to be fantastic. Getting the runes, getting more runes of dislocation and get those out faster would be great. Also, we could get the other runes that increase the capacity of the blood altar too, so that could help speed this process up as well. But for right now, you know, this is gonna work just fine. We need to collect 80 buckets. We almost have 80 buckets right there of the life essence in order to process an ingot, which is going to be a lot better than what we were doing outside using the rockhounding stuff. So let's try doing one of these now. I don't know if our current setup is going to be able to keep up with this, but I do want to see if we can process this stuff. So let's check it out. We'll put that in there and we'll turn this on. We'll start filling up our blood altar. Let's see if we can keep up with it. Ooh. Yeah, does not look like that's going to keep up with it, does it? Nope, we are going to have to do some more stuff to our altar in order to get that going. But for right now, being able to collect the life essence that much easier, I'm very happy with that. Alright guys, so I've been sitting here trying to figure out a good way to put this to use. Now it turns out I can make Draconian ingots from this if I sit there, let the villagers build up, and then I spam click them with the Dagger of Sacrifice. I've been doing this for a few times now. We got 6 ingots, so it is possible for me to do this without having to go through the rockhounding. But I do have to camp it, and we can only do about 1 at a time. It's not a lot of fun. So in order to make this better, we were going to have to get more life essence per villager. And yeah, what we're going to need is Rune of Sacrifice. This will give us more life essence per kill with our dagger if we use one of these. Now I was trying to figure out how to make one of these things. So it requires abyssal stone. We've seen how to do that. We've seen how to get reinforced slates, and we know how to get blank runes. But it does require these different crystal clusters. Now, in order to get a Vengeful Will crystal cluster, we need these Vengeful Will crystals, which don't have a recipe. So I've been trying to figure out how it is that we get these things, and I've been spending some time here with Blood Magic trying to relearn this, because I'm pretty sure I've done some of this, if not a lot of this previously, but only one time. So we need to get 4 of these Vengeful Will clusters and put into the Hellfire Forge with a Greater Tartaric Gem, and then we can make one of these. Yeah, so I've been looking at how to make these different gems, and I've been looking at demon crystallizers and all sorts of things. So over here, I started working on some of these things off camera, trying to figure it all out. So we have a demon crucible, and then we have a demon crystallizer. And in fact, I made an additional 7 more, so we should have 8 of these things all together. So we out of food. It kind of looks like this thing doesn't have food in it. Yeah, I guess I must have just ate the last piece of food. I need to fill that back up. So it looks like what we need to do is take our demon crucible, put some kind of a tartaric gem in it. We're using a common right now. This was completely full, and you can see the will quality is dropped. What this will do is this will take the will from the gem and put it into the aura of the chunk. Oh, this one just got a second spire on it. Perfect. I was kind of waiting to see if that would happen. Yeah, that took a while. Okay, so pretty much what you do is you put the tartaric gem into the demon crucible, you put a demon will crystallizer in the same chunk, and wait. It'll drain the will out of the gem, put it into the aura. Apparently each chunk can hold up to 100 aura, I guess. And if the chunk has more than 80, it has a chance for the demon crystallizer to make a crystal. Okay, so now you can see that that one right there has 2. This one was put down first, and then they put these other ones down. I don't know if they wait a certain amount of time or if it's just random chance before we get more of these things to spawn here. But yeah, I was also seeing that you can take a gem as long as it's got more than a certain amount of stuff in there. I think it's 1024. As long as that's in your inventory, you can right click on one of these ones that has more than 1 spire, and you get demon will crystal. It doesn't use any of this. Ooh, okay, you can't do it over and over again. It doesn't use any of the stuff in your gem, but yeah, you can get demon will crystal this way. So you can see that we had different color ones here. This is just random. I placed these down. Some of them came up the green color. Some came up this, I guess that's like a brownish reddish color. Yeah, and then I guess these are the default ones. The demon, just regular demon will crystals. So yeah, this is kind of cool. So now that I took that off there, did that use any more? 670. Apparently another way you can do this from what I was reading is if you have like a mob grinder going, if you have these in the same chunk, like just grinding monsters makes the aura, but I'm not 100% sure on how this all works. But anyway, we've gotten a few of these demon will crystals, and we need those in order to make these things. So we need the red ones. I'm not sure if that's the vengeful one here or not. Anyway, I'm going to keep playing around with this until I kind of figure this out. But yeah, we're definitely going to want something like this to get more essence out of our villagers. Well, it looks like we've gotten some of the crystals that we were looking for that have grown here. Yeah, as I get some of these regular ones, I've just been coming by and getting rid of them. We are collecting those demon will crystals, and these seem like the most common ones, so I'm not too worried about it. But as we get some of these other colored ones, yeah, I'm definitely trying to leave those there so they will continue to grow, and yeah, we'll be able to get some more of the will of that different type. We currently have destructive and corrosive. This is the vengeful stuff, and this is the stuff that we want. So I want to see these things grow little spines on them, or spires or whatever, and then we can start harvesting those things. Once we get enough of those, we'll be able to take them and then turn them into the rune of sacrifice like we were trying to do before. Yeah, we need these guys. So I'm not sure if this is the best way of doing it. I saw that there's some kind of rituals that you can set up to kind of automate this process, but that's a little bit further along than where we are right now. Yeah, you can kind of see those crystals are being populated here as it draws some of the will out of the chunk's aura. And every time it grows one of those, it uses a whole lot of the greater tartaric gems stored will. I'm also thinking that these different types of tartaric gems, like this one says it contains vengeful will, you can combine the raw will with one of these different types to make it of that color. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, like if we were to fill one of these up, put it into our demon crucible here, we would only get the red gems or the red crystals. I don't know. If you guys got more information on this, so I can figure out how to get the demon will crystal of the type that we want, yeah, let me know in the comments down below. But guys, we're going to go and wrap the episode up here for today. A lot of blood magic last couple episodes. I think we're going to be switching to something else next time. we're definitely trying to get to the point where we can do Draconian. That's why we've been spending all the time on this stuff. But yeah, as you've seen, there's two ways to get it: through our blood altar here and through doing the Rockhounding. The Rockhounding stuff is absolutely obnoxious. It's fine for getting the first few pieces, but I honestly don't want to make any more of the Draconian that way. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, leave a like on the episode if you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.